Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into a speech by Salena Gomes, one where she talks about trusting yourself. But we're going to do this with a twist. We're explaining this to, someone learning English. So we're going to focus on those cool words and phrases Salena uses.
Oh, I love that. It's like, learning a language is kind of like solving a puzzle. You need to understand not just the words, but how they work together, in the real world.
Right. It's all about context. So let's jump into Selena's speech. One phrase that really stuck out to me was carry your own show. It sounds, well, kind of theatrical. So what does it actually mean?
It does have that theatrical vibe. Basically, it means to be able to lead and succeed on your own. Like you're the star of your own show.
Ah, I see. And speaking of facing challenges, Salena also uses the phrase, turn the other cheek. That sounds almost biblical, doesn't it?
It does a bit. Essentially, it means to respond to negativity with patience and forgiveness. So instead of fighting back, you kind of rise above it.
So it's about choosing kindness, even when it's tough. Now, Salena also talks about losing sight of who I was, which feels very relatable, especially if you're, trying to fit in. What makes this phrase so powerful?
Hmm. It just speaks to that universal feeling of losing yourself, maybe because of pressure or trying to please others. Selena's honesty it makes it resonate.
It's like when you try so hard to belong that you forget what makes you special. Okay, so Salena also talks about changing the game. Does that always have to be about big world-changing things?
Well, while it can be about making huge changes, changing the game can also be about just doing things differently, being innovative.
So it's about making a positive impact, no matter how big or small. And finally, there's the phrase, have each other's back. I love the imagery that it implies such strong support.
Absolutely. It means being there for each other, offering support and protection. That feeling of knowing someone's got your back no matter what.
It's like having a built-in support system, which is, well, so important in life.
Mm.
Now, beyond those cool phrases, Salena uses some more poetic language, too. For example, she describes criticism as taking the wind out of you or even crushing you. Those are, pretty intense.
Those are great examples of metaphors, when you use one thing to describe another to create a vivid picture.
So she's not saying someone literally punches the air out of you.
Right. She's using those physical sensations to describe the emotional impact of criticism. It's like you can almost feel how discouraging it can be.
I see. It's about making the abstract, feelings more concrete and relatable. Okay, and speaking of making things stick, I noticed Salena uses repetition quite a bit. Like she says, please, please just be kind to each other. Why do you think she does that?
Well, repetition is powerful, especially in speeches. It emphasizes a point and makes it more memorable.
It's like when a song gets stuck in your head. You keep hearing that chorus over and over again.
You got it. And in this case, Selena's repetition just emphasizes her plea for kindness. It's like she really wants us to hear that message.
It adds urgency and emotion to her words. Now, another thing that stood out was how Salena uses personal stories.
Mhm.
She talks about her mom's influence. Why do you think she does that?
Personal stories are a great way to make a speech feel more real and relatable. When Salena shares those moments, it's like she's inviting us into her world.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, hey, I'm a person too, and here's what I've learned.
Exactly. And that vulnerability just makes her message even more powerful.
Now, something else that stood out was how informal Selena's language is.
Mhm.
She uses words like you guys, kind of even admits to rambling a bit.
Right. And that informal style just helps create a more, relaxed and conversational tone.
It makes the speech less intimidating, right? Especially for someone new to English.
Totally. It feels more authentic and relatable. It's like she's having a conversation, not giving a lecture.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Looking at these individual pieces of language that Salena uses.
Yeah, but the magic really happens when you see how they all fit together to create her overall message, right?
Exactly. So in the next part, we'll zoom out and see how these different elements work together to create, well, such a powerful and inspiring speech. Stay with us.
It's amazing how Salena keeps bringing up this idea of kindness throughout her speech. It's like it's not just a side note, it's really important to her.
Oh, totally. It comes up again and again, especially when she uses that phrase, please, please just be kind to each other and love and inspire people. That please, please part just makes it sound, well, so sincere.
Like she really wants us to listen. Yeah. And it's not just about being nice. It's about, actively loving and inspiring others. That's a high bar to set.
For sure. And then she follows it up with this, call to action. Let's do it. Let's change the game. It's so, so energizing.
It is. It's like she's saying we can make a difference, if we work together.
Yeah, it's like creating a ripple effect. One act of kindness leads to another, and it just keeps spreading.
Exactly. And that's why this message is so powerful. It's timeless, It doesn't matter what language you speak. Kindness is, well, it's universal.
Everyone understands it. Speaking of language, we've been talking about these specific phrases Salena uses. But for someone learning English, it's important to remember that words can, have different meanings depending on how they're used.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you have to look at the whole picture to understand what's going on, not just one piece.
So, we talked about carry your own show. In the entertainment world, it has a pretty specific meaning, right?
Right. It could mean you're the star of a movie or, you have your own TV show.
But in everyday life, it could just mean, being independent and capable.
Exactly. So for someone new to English, it can be tricky. You have to be a detective and use the context to figure out what's meant.
Makes it more fun, though, right?
I think so. It's not just memorizing words. It's about understanding how people actually use them.
So going back to Selena's speech, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier about her being, both vulnerable and strong at the same time.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that makes her so relatable. She's not afraid to talk about her struggles.
Yeah. She talks about self-doubt, feeling pressure to be like everyone else, even losing sight of herself. It's pretty brave to talk about those things.
It is. But by being so honest, her message about believing in yourself it becomes even stronger.
It's like she's saying, hey, I've been there, I've made mistakes, but I've learned from them, and you can too.
Exactly. It makes her message feel more real somehow.
And speaking of journeys, she also talks about how important it is to have the right people around you. I love that phrase she uses. You are who you surround yourself with.
Oh, it's so true. The people we hang out with, they can really influence us, even if we don't realize it.
They can either, lift us up or hold us back. So it's really important to choose people who believe in you, who support you.
Definitely. People who bring out the best in you.
And Selena really highlights this when she talks about her mom, right?
Yeah, she does. She talks about how much her mom supported her, how she was always there for her. And she encourages everyone to find those people in their own lives, people who will cheer you on no matter what.
That's so important, especially if you're new to a language or culture. It can make such a difference to have that kind of support.
It really can. It's like building your own community, finding people who understand you.
And it's not just about getting that support, it's about giving it too, right? Being there for other people, encouraging them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's about creating a space where everyone feels like they belong, like they're valued.
It all comes back to kindness, doesn't it? It's like, it's the foundation of everything.
And it's something that goes beyond words. It's something we can all feel and understand.
Okay, we're back for the last part of our deep dive into Selena Gomez's speech.
Yeah, it's been really cool breaking down how she uses language to make her message so powerful.
It has. And I think it's been especially helpful for people learning English,
For sure. Selena uses a lot of those everyday phrases you might not find in a textbook.
right? Like carry your own show or uh, turn the other cheek.
Mm.
They sound natural when she says them, but they can be confusing if you don't, know what they mean.
It's all about context. You got to see how the words are used, not just what they mean in the dictionary.
And Selena's speech is perfect for that. She uses, metaphors, informal language, personal stories. It all makes her message more interesting and engaging.
It's like she's not just talking at you, she's talking with you.
Exactly. And if you're learning English, it's a great way to see how those words are actually used.
It shows you that language is more than just rules, it's how we connect with each other.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. Selena's message is about, believing in yourself and being kind. But how might that be expressed in other languages?
That's a great question. I bet different cultures have their own unique ways of saying those things.
Like, are there any phrases in your language that really capture those ideas?
I'm sure there are. Language and culture are so connected, it's how we share our values.
So to all our listeners, think about that for a minute. How would you express these ideas in your own language? What words feel, the most powerful?
Because at the end of the day, language is about connecting with people.
Is how we share our experiences and, well, just understand each other better.
And that's what makes learning a language so rewarding. There's always something new to learn.
Well said. Okay, that's it for our deep dive into Selena Gomez's speech.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you learned a few things and maybe even feel inspired to keep exploring language.
And remember, no matter what language you speak, we can all understand kindness and believing in yourself.
That's all for today. Until next time, keep learning.